Thank you. Wherever you're watching this from. I don't know where you're watching it from, but hi. How you doing? Hope you're having a good one. I'm having a good day as well. I had a short-lived conversation in the last broadcast, and that's what this is about. Over over quite a period of time in my years since I've been online, and because I'm so old, I've been online a long time. Well, I remember when you couldn't even afford to buy a really old crappy laptop, and you had to use them there 5-inch discs that were flippity floppity, and I remember when. Okay, the interesting conversation that I had was with somebody. I'll just say his first name, Jack. So Jack used to send Morse code. But with Jack, I have a feeling that he actually, excuse me, I like kind of adjust myself here because um, but I have a feeling that well, I know people like Jack, they don't really research. They only go to the sites which are alternate sites for news, alternate places for information like the Reddit boards or the deep dark web, and all of that. They get their information from there. And the goal of those places is the very same thing that's the goal of any website. They want to make money. So what do you think? People say, well, the mainstream media, the same conspiracy theorists, they say, mainstream media, they're just doing it for the ratings. They're doing it for the money. They don't care. They just want to get the ratings and the money. So, what do you think those other places, why would they not do that if that's exactly what media does? Because you can't just say mainstream media, every media does it. I remember when I was a kid and we had 3 channels, all in black and white, on a little television that couldn't have been more than 20 inches, sitting on the ground in one of those heavy boxes. Ken, I'm sure you remember those things if you had them there. A telly. And we watched the news, but the news was never, it was never as nasty. Like, it didn't show like dead bodies laying everywhere like it does now, right? Yeah. Well, believe me, I what's funny is I watch, it's called Me TV, and it's a channel, a telly channel out of somewhere in the US. And they're showing all these cartoons like Popeye and and I'm looking at them and I'm realizing this is where I picked up the sayings. And if not me, somebody in my life picked up those sayings. Did you know that rabbits don't like carrots? That they just put that into the cartoon when they first created Bugs Bunny, and they don't like carrots apparently. Who knew? For my whole life, because of Bugs Bunny, I thought rabbits like carrots. It's a lie. It's a conspiracy theory. If you ever watched the really old cartoons, the millennials couldn't handle that back then because, I mean, look at Popeye. Popeye and Bluto used to constantly go at each other, and Bluto would always like grab olive oil and take her and smack her and hit her and stuff like that, almost kill her. But today, if those well, they are on one channel, but if the millennials found out about it, oh Lord, there would be trouble. There would be trouble. There would be no more Popeye. Like, and you watch like one of the, I'm saying like a lot. which really bugs me. If it doesn't bug you, it bugs me. But back in the day, there was a cartoon, and it was of, I think it was two squirrels or something, and one was male, one was female, and it was like the honeymooners. That's where they got the honeymooners idea from that cartoon. So who knew, right? Ralph Cramden or something, I think his name was. But yeah, so I mean, but if you had the honeymooners on nowadays, or if millennials got a hold of those cartoons, you would never see them again, you know. And because nobody says an apology before every damn cartoon, like, "Oh, we're sorry, that was a different time," you know, it wasn't right. Doesn't make it right, but it was a different time, So I don't know, but honeymooners, like the guy saying, "Oh, I want to, if I'm going to knock you right to the moon, Alice," or whatever her name was, right? Now, you can't say that. People wouldn't laugh at that like they did back in the day when it was done all in front of live studio audiences. And being a part of a live studio audience is great, except that they have the signs that say applause. So whether or not you think something is good enough to applaud, give applause for it, you have to. Mm. The good old days, yeah. But now the millennial, like, oh, and also all of those TV shows from the 1950s and 60s, like Leave It to Beaver. You know, what woman now, except for the abused ones, ever would accept having an allowance for groceries? you know, Not allowed, because back then women weren't allowed to get bank accounts without their husband's approval. They had to bring their husband with them in order to do it. Women have come a long way, our rights, but that millennials would see that and go, "Wow, that's crazy." You know, it's like something in the when my grandchildren have children, we probably won't even have washing machines anymore. There'll be some other way to do it in 20 years, because that's all this has been. 20 years, and bam, everything's different. The world's different. I remember being at the Kiss concert it was a millennial concert here in Vancouver, and uh, everybody was worried that the end of the world was going to happen when the clocks changed to 2000, because they said, no, no, they can't handle it. Nothing was, I mean, isn't it nice to know that things like that didn't go past the 2000 because they weren't sure that we'd be here at 2000? I have a personal friend who she just went crazy. She just went, in my opinion, well, as did a lot of people, in my opinion, just like with the toilet paper thing. But man, water, a whole bunch of canned goods, everything you could think of, dried meats and all that stuff, because she figured. Oh, and she went to the bank and withdrew all of her money because the banks were going to be completely shut down. We didn't realize it yet. Oh, geez. It brings me back to the thought I keep having is, what if this is a dream? And when we think we're dreaming, we're actually living. Mm. Inquiring minds want to know. So, I don't know. I used to think that, because how do you know? You don't. No way I could dream you up. I know it'd be nightmares, right? It's a wonder my horns aren't poking through. How are your flowers, your plants growing, by the way? Are they all doing well? And did all those people follow you over here? I hope they did, Ken, because you're good people. It's weird. I know I checked into citizenship, whether you can get dual citizenship, because my if my great grandfather, it doesn't matter if my great grandfather was born in the UK. I'm not eligible for it. If my grandfather or my father had been born in the UK, then I would. But I tried. But then, because I wanted to come and hound you, Ken. You have? Really? Well, good for you. That kind of helps. Yeah, I don't know. I think my husband may have dual citizenship with the US because his grandmother is an American citizen, or was. She passed on. But he could probably maybe apply for it because his grandmother is an American. And I think his dad might have had dual citizenship too, because every time his dad married a new wife, he would cross the border into Idaho. Wait, what's the name of that state? Idaho? Did I say more than one wife? Maybe that's why the state is named Idaho. Yes, but ever since they find me for speeding, I'm kidding. Yeah, I would send it back. Long story short, as if I could say what, but I got pulled over in the state of what I call misery, but it's Missouri, and for not changing lanes when there were police vehicles at the side of the road. And I was in a pickup truck and I was pulling a travel trailer, and I was trying to swing over in that lane because in Canada, that's what we just do. We don't need a law to tell us to do that. We care about the police and other, people at the side of the road. So, because you hear about the accidents all the time. See, I told you it wasn't going to be as quick as you thought, or I did. So I get pulled over and my truck explodes. And well, it didn't explode, but the radiator did, or radiator, whatever you want to call it. It exploded at the side of the highway. And I got a fine. I think it was a $125 fine, but I didn't have the money to pay for it at the time. I just had enough money to get back to Canada, right? for gas. And so I just kept going, and I never actually went back to the state of misery because I'm worried that I might get pulled over and put in jail. I thought, if I've been there for 16, 17 years, it should be okay, right? I mean, they expunge that, don't they? I asked my friend that in the state of Missouri, and he said, nope, unfortunately, they don't. He says, but I would have had something show up on my license a long time ago, he said. So I've never had a problem. And now I haven't had a license since last year because I'm terrified to go into places like the driving. You have to go get renewed. Like, I just have to renew. I don't have to redo a whole driving test because I might fail because I have a lead foot when it comes to driving. I love it. I love driving. So tired of this stupid shaking. I couldn't do my dream catcher today. I couldn't hold the strings. I couldn't. So I decided I'd come on to Haps and say, hey. Well, so my opinion on conspiracy theories is they're stupid. That's my opinion. Um, if it's called a theory, you see, it's like in science. You have theories. Will this drug um, kill COVID-19? That's a theory. Maybe this drug will kill COVID-19. But to prove it, which is then called a fact, you have to go through and you have to do that. You prove the theory. If you cannot prove a theory, then it's a theory and it's false. It's not a fact. And you try to explain that to these conspiracy theory people, and they just don't get it. It's like QAnon people. People say they have ways of connecting with the aliens who are just right above us. Trans issues. Interesting you asked about that because today, for the very first time ever, I watched a television episode of one of the shows that I've been meaning to watch called Clarice. And in it, one of the players is a transgender woman. And when I saw that, at first I was like, wow. But there's going to be a day when that's going to come, when people are going to watch television or go out to their favorite restaurant or their nightclub or their workplace, and they're not going to go, oh, that's a transgender woman. You know, it's it's different right now for people who don't understand it. How I explain being transgender is a person who used to identify as male. They may have had the surgery, the sex change surgery, they may not, or sex reassignment surgery, or they may not. So before they have it, they're uh, I forget what they call it, but so transgendered woman would be like Caitlyn Jenner. That is a hard question too, because I worked with an organization called AIDS Vancouver, well, two organizations, AIDS Vancouver and BC Persons with HIV and AIDS, back in the early 90s. And I was in charge of research. And so one of the things I had to look up was, why are people gay? Why are there lesbians? Why are you bisexual? Why this? Why that? Because you have to be able to explain it, to people that you deal with for the different projects, such as the workshops I would do, for instance. Ow, ow. Okay. Stupid chair. My husband put it in such a weird position. So I can't turn around. Okay. Calm. So when I was doing that, no, no, not really. That determines the sex. So you have a penis or you have a vagina, but that doesn't determine your orientation. Your brain does. And I know that for a fact because of the research I did, which is why I always tell people they did studies, okay? So they did studies on a straight male's brain and a straight female's brain, a gay male and a lesbian female, okay? They did all these scans on their brains to see if anything shows up different or similar. And what ended up happening was the straight man's brain did not match the gay man's brain, which you would think you would go, oh, well, I mean, he's got a penis. Obviously, he must be a straight guy. But no, it closely matched the lesbian female's brain and vice versa. Straight woman's brain matched closely to a gay male's brain. And that proves, like Lady Gaga says, you're born this way. It's not something you ask for. You don't look and say, when I have a cousin who is, uh, he, he does those, the shows, he's queer. He calls himself queer. He's transgender, but he's not sex change, but he does like to dress in female's clothes for his male partner. It's hard to explain to people, if you feel like you're a woman, why would you then want to be with the man? Doesn't that make you gay? Right? But no, no, it doesn't. It's difficult. When I first started looking at that, I didn't believe it. I was like, no, this is just one study. and then more and more and more and more. And I had to be able to explain it specifically to the First Nations people that I did workshops for. I had in the First Nations, they never ever believed that they could get affected by AIDS, HIV. They could never get it because it was a gay white man's disease. I'm here to tell you there's a lot of straight people that got it too because they shot up once, like that young man that I looked after in the hospice and who passed away on the 26th of December at the age of 21 years old. You know, there's, it wasn't that he chose to become sick, it just happened that way. And everybody based their decision on, oh, he has HIV, he must be gay. You know what I mean? And uh, there were people back then using conspiracy theories saying that it was a person who had sex with a monkey and infected the monkey and then got infected and came back and infected people, and then other people said that it was a conspiracy, it was to kill, it originally was to kill all the black males in the United States. Those are real conspiracy theories that were going on back then. And to me, that was so stupid, you know? I mean, I firmly believe, just like myself, I had to get educated. I don't want to just believe what other people tell me. I want to know factuals, I mean, facts, um, to be able to say, yes, it happens. People who nag are what? Oh, women. That's what we call those people. Oh my God. I try not to be one of those people, but yeah, you rest your case. But it's a thing where it's like my husband. He'd never been around a gay person before, and he always thought that every gay man was going to come after you, if you were in the right place at the wrong time, or whatever, that they would come after you, come on to you, and all of that. But people are people, and it's like it's the same thing where people, you can't help what you look like on the outside. You can't. Your skin color, your eyes, your eye color, can't do it. Over here, there's a movement that people can self identify. Well, I think people should be able to do that. I mean, there's been, I think, at least that I know of, two kids in Canada, kids, young kids, like 7, 8 years old, who have decided that, they had been living their life. Like the little boys didn't want to play with the trucks. They want to play with, they don't roughhouse. They were more about playing house. They were more about um, doing things that you would expect a little girl to do. And imagine looking in the mirror every single day and seeing a person looking back at you that you don't recognize. That's what transgender is, because you are not who you see. It doesn't mean you're gay, it means you're transgender when you look at yourself in the mirror and you don't recognize who that person is. You see a male looking back at you, but you don't feel like a male. You know what I'm saying? And I have tried. I almost did something terrible the other day. And I almost picked up some stuff, little cars and little things, things that look like great for little boys. And I stopped myself because I don't want to be that person. I don't want to stereotype, give them a stereotype even before they're old enough to understand what a stereotype is. I let my son play with dolls when he was a kid. My daughters had dolls. He played, he had I shouldn't say a doll, but he had one that, I hate to say it, but kind of looked like Chucky. But it came out right about the same time as that Chucky doll did in the movie. Um, but I let my son do that. And today he is with a girl, and she has a daughter, and she looks to be about 5. 5 years old, and every baby that I've ever seen my son with, he is so gentle with them. He's compassionate, he's empathetic. He's very good with children, even, the grandkids. He was his little nieces and nephews. He is great at, dealing with them. He's as straight as an arrow. So him choosing to have a doll to play with, but it's a boy doll, right? But that didn't matter because my daughters had the other doll. I had one brunette and one blonde. So I still have them, as a matter of fact. No, you know what? You can't be a penguin, although you could if you put on the right kind of tuxedo and, you put on a pair of spats, just the right one, and a nice top hat. You might put a little spyglass in there, just one though, one little spectacle, a little cigar dangling out of your mouth, and you walk like this. You could be a penguin. Sure, why not? I don't see why not. You want to identify as a penguin? Identify as a penguin. you know, I know it's like people who don't understand that kind of stuff. And I mean, I'm not saying I know everything because I don't. Um, but people who don't understand, and they come up with conspiracy theories, like ideas about, well, this must be the way it is. Like with this COVID, all of those things. At first, they're saying it was from a live food market in Wuhan, and it was from a bat. Okay, now there's a few things that people should realize. The DNA of an animal and a human are different, which is why a human and a monkey didn't have AIDS. They didn't start AIDS. you know, you can debunk the theories if you just think about it. Think about reality, you know. Can't believe everything you see and hear online, for real. With this stupid diabetes, trying to hydrate. Hello. Thank you so much, Mary. Nice to meet you. I hope you're well. Um, yeah. So, conspiracy theories, like people saying that 9/11 didn't happen. Well, I guess the whole world that was watching imagined it all at the same time. Mass hypnosis. I've received emails from bats, and they're saying that they have been they're fed up, right? They're all upset now. Why are you bringing us into this crazy circle? We didn't do anything. I don't know. I don't understand how people can believe some of these things. I mean, I guess it's kind of no. I mean, conspiracy theories are just theories. They're not truth. They're not fact. They haven't been proven. So therefore, they're not scientifically proven. They're not real. We say identified as bats. Well, the bats have even been thinking that they are sick and tired of being stereotyped, as living in the darkness in caves hanging upside down. They're sick and tired of it. But every time they try to come out during the day, something happens. They get all burned up. So I guess they're SOL for now. Yeah, those darn bats. So gorgeous out here today. Just a beautiful, beautiful day. Just loving it. I could sit out here all the time. I come out here even in the winter months, and I just sit, bring a blanket, cup of coffee, you know, just sit out here, enjoy it. I got my grandkids to take the chalk and draw a whole bunch of places all over the the patio deck out here at Cement. So it's interesting to see how many ants will cross their lines. Hopefully none. Although I don't see any ants here right now. Not that there were many to start with. But they're trying to go into my. Wait, where did it go? Where'd my strawberries? My strawberries are gone. Did somebody? Oh no. Oh, I bet you the raccoon dumped my strawberries over. You gotta go. It's always been lovely chatting with you. One day we'll have a coffee together, but not in the UK. No, Heathrow, right? Because you're gonna have that big sign up, don't let Wanda in. Remember? We could at least have a cup of coffee before they ship me back. Okay, I gotta go find out what happened to my strawberries. Dun dun dun.